तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णु श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमस्ते तप्तकाञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे राधेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते
देवी
प्रणमामि वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे हरे
राम
हरे
हरे
राम राम
राम।
हरे
ओम नमो भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम
ॐ
नमो
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Translations and purpose to chapter 18 Bhagavad Gita advised given by C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Okay,
chapter
chapter 18.
I'm sorry verse
But verse is 56. You have to start at 56. Okay, it shows. We'll go through the breakdown again one more time to see what this section talks about. Pure Bhakti. Okay. Maybe I share my screen. Okay. So the section breakdown, we went through the entire verses of confidential knowledge, Brahman platform, how Brahman platform, they have the knowledge, but they don't have the personal aspect of the Lord. So Krishna is gradually bringing our consciousness to that highest stage. Now that is this section, 56 to 66 is a pure bhakti, acting in Krishna consciousness. We are on the home stretch in this chapter as well, in the entire Bhagavad Gita as well as this chapter. We have another 22 verses, maybe 3 more classes. Okay, pure bhakti, acting in Krishna consciousness. That is the section, verses 56 to 66.
Okay.
Verse number 56. Sarvakarmani api sada kurvano mad vyapashrayah matprasadat avapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam. Synonyms: Sarva, all, karmani, activities, api, although, sada, always, kurvanaha, performing, mat vyapashrayah, under my protection, mat prasadat, by my mercy, avapnoti, one achieves, shashvatam, the eternal, padam, abode, abhyayam, imperishable. Translation: Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. Purport: the word Mad Vyapashrayaha means under the protection of the Supreme Lord. To be free from material contamination, a pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He is always 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. To a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is very, very kind. In spite of all difficulties, is eventually placed in the transcendental abode or Krishna Loka. He is guaranteed entrance there. There is no doubt about it. In that supreme abode, there is no change. Everything is eternal, imperishable, and full of knowledge. Oh. So this is a sneak preview into the spiritual world. Prabhupada is giving us his ecstasies. And Krishna has talked about, though, because this is a pure bhakti section, though engaged, the devotees, though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. Though, what do you mean by all kinds of activities? That means they have their own regular conditioned activities. Conditioned activities are also there for the devotees, pure devotees also. They have to go through the body conditioned activities like eating, resting, taking care of the body, having some conversations with around people, around that, and those are the conditioned activities. But apart from that, they have the spiritual activities, which a pure devotee, even though they have those conditioned activities, but my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. And Prabhupada is talking about the details about Mad Vyapashrayaha means under the protection of the Supreme Lord. Because Lord has to protect the devotee, everyone. Lord is protecting us every step. He is protecting pure devotees. He was protecting also ordinary people, conditioned souls. So he is protecting, under his protection, the Lord is maintaining everyone. To be free from material contamination, a pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord as his representative, the spiritual master. There is no time limit for a pure devotee. It's always 24 hours. So what are the conditioned activity? What are the activities of the pure devotee? He is 24/7. Everything that he does is for Krishna. Even he is sleeping so that he can wake up in the morning for the service. He is eating so that he can keep his body and soul together for the service. So that is his mindset. That's a very far out mindset. Most of us are not there yet, but that's the aspiration. That everything that we do is for Krishna, 100%. Engage in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. To a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is very, very kind. In spite of all difficulties, is eventually placed in the transcendental abode. What do you mean by in spite of all difficulties? Because because of the material body, even the pure devotees go through certain sufferings and certain difficulties. And why so? So one may look at them and say, "Oh my God, they are also going through their karma," but that's not the case. They are not going through their karma because Krishna has taken away all their karma. Krishna is glorifying them by giving them some problem. So that how do these pure devotees react in those circumstances? To show to the world, not to test them. It's not to test them, but to show to the world that this is how the pure devotees operate, even when they are going through some suffering in their, just to glorify them. You can look at Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev was going through so much in his life. It wasn't very comfortable for him. On the deathbed also, he was going through a lot for a long time. So it was only to glorify him, so that the Lord can show to the world, this is the pure devotee's consciousness. Their bodily condition may be whatever, but they are very, very situated in Krishna consciousness in spite of that condition. So this is the difficulty. He was eventually placed in the transcendental abode or Krishna. He is guaranteed entrance there. So all that is to show to the world, but then they are getting their final result, which is to go back to Godhead. There's no doubt about it. In that supreme abode, there is no change. Everything is eternal, imperishable, and full of knowledge. So that's how the spiritual world is. Okay, we'll go to text 57. Bharati Mataji, please read because Gauri Mataji will not be able to read.
Yeah, okay. चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगम् उपश्रुत्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव. Synonyms: Chetasa, by intelligence; Sarva Karmani, all kinds of activities; Mai, unto me; Sanyasya, giving up; Matparaha, under my protection; Buddhi Yogam, devotional activities; Upashritya, taking shelter of; Matchitaha, in consciousness of me; Satatam, 24 hours a day; Bhava, just become. Translation: in all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Purport: when one acts in Krishna consciousness, he does not act as a master of the world. Just like a servant, one should act fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. A servant has no individual independence. He acts only on the order of the master. A servant acting on behalf of a Supreme Master is unaffected by profit and loss, as he simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. Now, one may argue that Arjuna was acting under the personal direction of Krishna, but when Krishna is not present, how should one act? If one acts according to the direction of Krishna in this book, as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. The Sanskrit word matparaha is very important in this word. In this verse, it indicates that one has no goal in life save that one has no goal in life save and expect act. How does it come, Mataji?
Save and
One
accept means accept. This is the way Prabhupada says, save and accept.
except right, okay. Except acting in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna, and while working in that way, one should think of Krishna only. I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. While acting in such a way, one naturally has to think of Krishna. This is perfect Krishna consciousness. One should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Supreme Lord. That sort of duty is not in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. One should act according to the order of Krishna. This is very important. This is a very important point. The order of Krishna comes through the disciplic successions from the bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, the spiritual master's order should be taken as a prime duty of life. If one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, then one's perfection in life in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed. Hare Krishna.
So the next point, Krishna is saying, Chetasa sarvakarmani mayi sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upashitya matchitta satatam bhava. In all my activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such a devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Matchitta satatam bhava. Always conscious of Krishna. Even though we are working all conditioned activities, just depend on Krishna in that work. In all activities, depend upon Krishna and work under his direction and protection. In such devotions, then the work becomes, that activity itself becomes devotional activity. When you are continuously thinking of Krishna and doing it, the work itself becomes devotional activity. In such devotional service, be fully Krishna consciousness of me. Okay. So, purport. When one acts, he does not act as the master of the world. So, he will not think himself as a proprietor, even though he's acting to do his duty. He may be a teacher, he may be a president of a company, he may be a leader in some organization. So whatever he may be doing, he will do it as a service to the Lord. He's just like a servant and fully under the direction of the Lord. He's working for Krishna. However, his consciousness is in Krishna. He's working his regular duties. thinking that he has no other independence. He's not independent, no more independence. He's just dependent on Krishna. He's only acting on the order of the Lord. So one may say then this is how he is asking Arjuna. So now Arjuna is at the final concluding stage of the pravachan that he is giving, right? Bhagavad Gita pravachan is talking. And now he's going to conclude it. Now he's saying, in all activities, just depend on me. This activity of fighting also, you depend on me, Arjuna. But Arjuna is thinking that, okay, Arjuna is now reforming. Transformation is happening in him. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, just in all activities depend. But one may think, like, Krishna is not here. How am I supposed to act? But the instructions are there. Through this book, through the pravachan, to that conversation that Krishna had with Arjuna, he's telling the whole world, not just to Arjuna. In all activities, depend on me and work under my protection. This is for everyone, one to one. So the book, the Bhagavad Gita has all this documented. And the devotee of the Lord, who's a spiritual master, pure devotee, is also saying the same thing. So we have to look in the book what has been given as well as what the spiritual master is telling. So these two are non-different. So then we act accordingly. So we don't have Krishna here in front of us, but we have the spiritual master and the
Books.
Bhagavad Gita. So that is how we have to act. This is all for us, one to one. We should consider this instruction is for me. It's not for Arjuna or my neighbor. It is for me. I have to act in this way. While doing that, this instruction is for me, constantly thinking of Krishna. Machitta. Chitta means to think or consciousness. Conscious. My consciousness is fully in Krishna. So this is how I can do this service for Krishna. How can I be more Krishna conscious? This has to be the consciousness. This should be our prime duty. Yeah, next. Veeramataji, you are able to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah.
58.
Machchitta sarva durgani matprasada tarishyasi adachet tvam ahangaram nashroyasi vinangyasi. Synonyms: mat of me, chitta being in consciousness, sarva all, durgani impediments, mat prasada by mercy, tarishyasi you will overcome, ada but said if, tvam you, ahangarat by false ego, na shrosyasi do not hear, vinangshasi you will be lost. If you translation, if you if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Purport: a person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. The foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. He always looks after his friend's comfort and he gives himself to his friend, who is so devotedly engaged, working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. Therefore, no one should be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life. One should not falsely think himself independent of the laws of material nature or free to act. He is under strict material laws. But as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from the material perplexities. One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. No conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. But a person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this point, Krishna is telling, if you think of me, you will pass all the obstacles. But if you don't think of me and act whimsically according to your own direction, your own will, thinking that you know it all, people say that I know better, I can do. So if we act in that false ego consciousness, then you will be lost. That means we'll go into the cycle of birth, death, and old age and disease constantly after that, because consciousness is like degraded. False ego means I am the master, I can do it, I know it, whatever I do is right. I want to win over everyone. Anything over which is very false, then what is the actual truth? So that is the false ego, right? So when one acts in that ego, false ego concept, then he'll go to the karma cycle, birth, death, old age, and disease. That means he'll have to go to that entire process over and over repeatedly. Otherwise, this is the obstacle. Krishna, as like we saw, right? Krishna tells a point, then he gives different aspects of the point. Then he will also tell what happens if you don't do it. So this is what will happen. What happens when you don't follow is that you will be lost. What did he say? Always think about me in the 55th verse, 56th verse. Think about me, and under my protection, you will be entering into my spiritual life. Then he said, there will be obstacles, but always think of me. Then you will overcome those obstacles by your constant, continuous concentration on me, machitta. Then he's saying, if you become conscious of me, those problems or difficulties will be overcome. Obstacles will be overcome of conditioned life. But if you do not think of me, then if you think in false ego, then you will be lost. So this is what is saying a point, giving more, elaborating it, and then telling what happens if that is not met. This is how Krishna does. Like everything is clear, no scope for ambiguity. Only one point he'll say and not do it. Like clearly he will explain everything. Next, 59. I will read. Yat ahankaram ashritya nayotsya iti manyase mityaisa vyavasayaste prakritisvam niyokshati. Synonyms: yet if ahankaram, a false ego, ashritya, taking shelter, no nayotsye, I shall not find, iti, thus, manyase, you think, nitya esha, this is all false, vyavashayaha, determination, determination, te, your, prakriti, material nature, tvam, you, niyokshyati, willingly. Translation: if you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Coming back to the point number 1 in the second chapter, where he says, just do your duty, and you're a spirit soul, just do your duty. Karma. In the second chapter, whatever he was talking, this is what he is bringing back. No, he's telling specifically to Arjuna that do your fight. And if you don't do this, then you will be lost. Because by false ego, if you think whatever I know is best, even though Krishna is telling to fight, I will not fight. If you do that, then you will be lost. But by your nature, you have to fight. Yeah. Arjuna was a military man and born of the nature of a Kshatriya. Therefore, his natural duty was to fight. But due to false ego, he was fearing that by killing his teacher, grandfather, and friends, he would incur sinful reactions. Actually, he was considering himself master of his actions, and if he were directing the good and bad results of such work. He forgot about the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present there, instructing him to fight. That is the forgetfulness of the conditioned soul. The Supreme Personality gives directions as to what is good and what is bad. And one simply has to act in Krishna consciousness to attain the perfection of life. No one can ascertain his destiny as the Supreme Lord can. Therefore, the best course is to take direction from the Supreme Lord and act. No one should neglect the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the order of the Spiritual Master, who is the representative of God. One should act unhesitantly to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that will keep one safe under all circumstances. So very clear. Arjuna, Krishna is telling, if you do not fight, you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you are supposed to fight. as a Kshatriya. And Arjuna, Prabhupada says that Arjuna was acting in false ego. That means he knows it better. He is going to kill his teachers, grandfathers, friends, which is not right because as per the Shastra, killing elders and all that is not right, is what he's thinking. But as per Dharma, whoever is opposing Dharma has to be killed. That is Dharma. Dharma becomes higher concept than your Dharma Shastras, and for the bodily maintenance, there are other Shastras. So as per Dharma Shastra, Dharma has to be maintained. Whether he is a teacher, whether he is, why if it is a teacher and grandfather, you should not be supporting Adharma, right? So Dharma Dharma has to be upkept at every stage, and not considering the lower aspects. Lower aspects means his teachers and friends, and because they will be sinful actions. Actually, he was considering himself the master of his actions, and as if directing the good and bad results of such work. He forgot. So we finish reading, right? So that is how Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that you fight because this is your nature, and properly expanding that Arjuna was acting under false ego, thinking that he has to kill his teachers and this is not right. So instead, he has chosen not to fight. Now Krishna is inducing him, just do the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the order of the spiritual master. In this case, for Arjuna, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead as well as a spiritual master because he's giving him the instruction. But for us, we have a spiritual master whose instruction is none other than the Supreme Lord's instructions as well. So we just have to follow their instructions. So sometimes spiritual masters may not give us personal instructions. There won't be, don't expect if you get a spiritual master, you get a personal instruction. Personal instruction is given in a very rare situation, very rare cases. Very, very qualified people will get personal instructions, like custom instructions. But for all of us, the instruction is to chant minimum set of rounds, follow the regulative principles, and read Prabhupada's books, associate with devotees, be truthful, like all those teachings of Bhagavad Gita, following them broadly, which are also personal instructions. Like all these, if you take it to your heart, it becomes your personal instruction. It need not be a personal instruction for each one of us. All the instructions that are there in Bhagavad Gita are instructions only. When we follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, there's no time to do other activities. We don't have to ask for others because our life is constantly surrounded by this, and it takes a lot of effort on our part to maintain that standard also. So if we are not given any personal instruction, it's good. On the top of it, if you are given a personal instruction, then that becomes your life and soul. For example, Prabhupada told his disciples to go build temples. Wherever he saw people, at least some positive response from the people, Prabhupada would go to every city in India as well in US. But if you speak in India, wherever he saw some response, he'll say people there to go to this place and open a temple. So that became your personal instruction. That becomes your personal instruction. Then that has to become your life and soul. But since we don't have any personal instruction, all these are our personal instructions and carry on them. The broad instructions, and if you follow each and every instruction, it becomes very personalized. There's nothing like one has to get a personal instruction. This is good enough for us just to carry out the orders, what have been laid out in the scriptures. One Mataji, please read 60.
60. स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धः स्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं नेच्छसि यन्मोहात् करिष्यसि अवशोपितत्. Synonyms: Swabhavajena, born of your own nature, Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Nibaddhaha, conditioned, Svena, by your own, Karmana, activities, Kartum, to do, Na, not, Ichasi, you like, Yat, that which, Mohat, illusion, Karshyasi, you will do, Avashaha, involuntarily, Api, even, Tat, that. Translation: under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. If one refuses to act under the direction of Supreme Lord, then he is compelled to act by the modes in which he is situated. Everyone is under the spell of a particular combination of modes of nature and is acting in that way. But anyone who voluntarily engages himself under the direction of the Supreme Lord becomes glorious. Hare Krishna.
Small purport. Under illusion, if you are to Arjuna, is telling directly, under illusion, if you decline to fight, but you will be compelled to work. You are Kshatriya. We spoke about this point. Arjuna is a Kshatriya. He may say, I don't want to fight now, but he'll be compelled because that is his nature. You cannot hide your nature. It comes out. Every situation it comes out. So that nature will come out. Then you cannot have you don't have the resources to fight. You don't have the position to fight because you have given up. You want to not be called as Kshatriya, then you won't be having that facility anymore. And that facility anymore is not there. But still you want to fight because it's your nature. Then that becomes an imbalance situation. So that imbalance will cause a lot of problems in the society. So if one refuses to act under the direction of the spiritual Supreme Lord, he is compelled to act by the modes in which he is situated. That is his nature. Everyone is under the spell of particular combination of modes of nature and acting in that way. But anyone who voluntarily engages himself under the direction of Supreme Lord becomes glorious. So that's obvious, right? You act for Krishna, then you will be glorious. Yeah, all famous verses are coming up. Veena Mataji, please read the 61.
Hare Krishna. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridesherjuna tishtani brahmayan sarvabhutani yandraruthani mayaya. Synonyms: Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, Sarva Bhutanam, of all living entities, Hrideshe, in the location of the heart, Arjuna, O Arjuna, Tishtadi, resides, Brahmayan, causing to travel, Sarva Bhutani, all living entities, Yandra, on a machine, Aruthani, being placed, Mayaya, under the spell of material energy. Translation: The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Purport: Arjuna was not the supreme knower, and his decision to fight or not to fight was confined to his limited discretion. Lord Krishna insisted that the individual is not all in all. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, or he himself, Krishna, as the localized supersoul, sits in the heart directing the living being. After changing bodies, the living entity forgets his past deeds, but the supersoul, as the knower of the past, present, and future, remains the witness of all his activities. Therefore, all the activities of living entities are directed by the supersoul. The living entity gets what he deserves and is carried by the material body, which is created in the material energy under the direction of the supersoul. As soon as a living entity is placed in a particular type of body, he has to work under the spell of that bodily situation. A person seated in a high speed motor car goes faster than one seated in a slower car. Though the living entities, the drivers may be the same. Similarly, by the order of the Supreme Soul, material nature fashions a particular type of body to a particular type of living entity so that he may work according to his past desires. The living entity is not independent. One should not think himself independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The individual is always under the Lord's control. Therefore, one's duty is to surrender, and that is the injunction of the next verse. Hare Krishna.
So, this is also very nice verse. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati. Brahmanyan sarvabhutani yantra rudhani maya. Yantra rudhani. Yantra means, yantra as you know is a machine. Arudhani is placed. So the body is like a machine. Our body, even though voluntarily or involuntarily, it is continuing to function, right? Very many things are involuntarily happen. Breathing, blood flow, blood pressure, all the organs acting, cleansing the body, that liver function, all the kidneys function, lungs function. They're all happening. It's a machine, well-oiled machine. It's taking place. Just now you switch on the light on a machine on, it works. It works until you switch it off. Look, so the switch off is when the body, when the each one organ, when the time is over for the living entity, that is when the machine stops. But until such time, the body is like a machine. It is continually working. So, and what this machine is composed of? How is this machine made? Based on your past wanderings, past karma. We've been given this machine, and we are situated on this machine as a soul, and we are going through whatever is we are that is coming to us in this life on this machine. So, and Supreme Lord is situated in the heart for each and every machine like that. He is there in the heart, and this is a body that is working based on the material energy, material nature that we have gotten from our previous activities, previous karma. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. So this is a so if you think that, then you make your own decision. Whatever instructions are being given to us, if you ignore them and think that we can do our own, act on our own, then that is, then the machine, what happens is, so when we act according to the Krishna's desire and instructions as we have been given, the machine will be gone from us, but we will get to our destination. We'll get to our destination. We don't need that machine anymore. And if we don't consider Krishna's instructions or the spiritual master's instruction and act accordingly, whimsically on our own free will with false ego, then we'll get another mission, which will again go through the same process, wandering here and there, acquiring this, acquiring that. We'll go through another mission, and this is how this is continuing. As a person is seated in a, and some will get a high speed motor car, some might get a scooter, some might get a cycle. How? Again, based on our activities, what we are doing now. We may not deserve a high speed motor car, because that's not what we have accrued in this life. We might get only a cycle, or not even, cycle or something else very smaller. So that is how we will be given a yantra. And that will continue. This process is continuing, and we have to somehow get rid of this process, is the ultimate goal that Prabhu Krishna is coming to that point. Yeah. Vinamata, you have a question?
Mataji, I have a question. Like here, super soul, it's mentioned super soul. So we means the super soul. Super soul is getting the instruction from Krishna or masters, spiritual master, and acting accordingly.
No, super soul is Paramatma in the heart.
Oh.
Soul is the living entity, we. Like you, Veena Mataji is a soul. You have a soul. But in your heart, there is supreme super soul inside the heart. He is as big as a thumb. That is said. It's as big as one's thumb situated in the heart location. Invisible to us. In Bhagavatam, it comes. He is as big as the thumb of each person, and he is situated in the heart location. That is super soul. He is witnessing all our activities, whatever we are doing. And that comparison Prabhupada gives in many places as the two birds sitting on a branch. One bird is eating the fruit, the other bird is watching this bird eat the fruit. So that bird who is eating is the soul, the living entity, us. And the other bird who is watching this bird eating is the super soul. They are on the same branch. Just like the soul and the super soul, it is inside our body. And the super soul is witnessing everything. So he has a full account of all our activities, whatever we have done.
All our activities means past birth, previous
everything is there. And the witnesses are sun, moon, stars, Indra, Chandra, Vayu. They're all witnesses. They're also watching. Supreme Lord is inside the heart watching, but externally also they are all watching us in the daytime, in the night time. So everything is recorded. You cannot escape. That is how we are getting the yantra, different yantras we are getting. One yantra high speed, other yantra, other body is low speed. Some is getting even airplane, to fly, for example, but someone is getting a very, very simple item to play with. So like that, everything is being recorded and everything is being will be given to played back, I guess, at some point. This is what you have done, and based on this and your desire, this is what you'll be given another yantra. So our idea is to stop this. That's the whole idea.
So Mataji, Yendra means the body,
Yantra means
and
body. Yeah.
so soul is. So what is difference between soul and super soul?
So the body is the living entity, the external
Yeah,
that you see. This
yeah.
body will perish, right? It cannot last more than 100 years. 100 years is too a long time for the body to exist. Right? That is a yantra, that's a body. Just like the machine will also stop working at some time. All the parts will become loose. It stop working suddenly one day. You start working. You use the machine for a long time, one day it will stop working. Just like the body is also like that. Body are living here, but it will not work all the time. Some of the coming down, like they're going through deterioration, and finally it will stop. But the soul inside it is constantly living. The soul and the super soul, they go to a different destination in different body. And the super soul takes that soul to a different location, to different mother's womb, where the soul will be placed in that mother's womb, and another life will start.
Okay, so each soul has its own super soul.
Super soul is one. Super soul
Oh,
is
okay.
Paramatma. That is the Supreme Lord.
Okay, okay.
Present inside the heart.
Okay.
Is Krishna himself
Oh, okay,
as
okay, okay.
Paramatma.
Okay.
And the soul is the living individual living entity. We are all souls. And super soul is inside every living entity. Not even living entity. Any atom also is there. As a Karanodakshaya, Shirodakshaya, and three
Garbhodakshay, Garbho.
Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Karanodakshaya
Karanodakshaya Vishnu,
Shirodakshaya Vishnu.
Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and
Shiro,
Shirodakshaya. As
Shirodakshaya.
Shirodakshaya Vishnu, he'll enter into each and every atom.
Okay, okay. So Shirodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul.
Super soul, exactly. Shirodakshaya, that's what you're reading in Bhagavatam, right?
Yeah.
So super soul is Shirodakshaya Vishnu. He's entering in each and every soul, a living entity and non-living entity also, as an atom. Atom is the smallest, in physics, there is much more smaller nucleus and neutron, proton, but atom is like for all practical purposes, atom is the smallest unit of measurement. So in that unit, atom, super soul exists as Shirodakshaya. Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So he is there in every atom also. Now, what to speak of the living entity? He is guiding us as a Paramatma, super soul inside the soul of us, is guiding us, wanderings, is guiding us. Suddenly we get some realization, don't do this or do this. Suddenly something lights up in our heart. Who's giving that? That is Shirodakshaya Vishnu seated in our hearts, is giving that instructions. Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
So who read this verse? Did I read or who
I
read?
can read Mataji.
You want to read? Okay, 62.
तमेव शरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत तत्प्रसादात् परां शान्ति स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम्. Come unto him eva certainly sharanam gaccha surrender sarva bhavena in all respects Bharata, O son of Bharat. Tat prasadat, by his grace, param transcendental, shantim peace, sthanam the abode, prapashyasi you will get, shasvatam eternal. O Scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain the transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Purport: a living entity should therefore surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart, and that will relieve him from all kinds of miseries of this material existence. By such surrender, not only will one be released from all miseries in this life, but at the end he will reach the Supreme Lord. The transcendental world is described in the Vedic literature Rig Veda 1.2220 as Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. Since all of the creation is the kingdom of God, everything material is actually spiritual. But Paramam Padam specifically refers to the eternal abode, which is called the spiritual sky or Vaikuntha. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sanniveshta. The Lord is sitting in everyone's heart. So, this recommendation that one should surrender unto the Super Soul sitting within means that one should surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna has already been accepted by Arjuna as the Supreme. He was accepted in the 10th chapter as Param Brahma Param Dhama. Arjuna has accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the supreme abode of all living entities, not only because of his personal experience, but also because of the evidence of great authorities like Narad, Asit, Devala, and Vyasa.
Thank you. Okay. Now he is telling to Arjuna, O son of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Unto him meaning unto that super soul who is situated in your yantra, in your body, and surrender unto him. Is now keeping him as him, not himself. Because there is super soul is present in Arjuna's body also, right? As Paramatma. Krishna himself, but situated in that form. So every living entity should surrender to the Supreme Lord who is situated in everyone's heart. Just like I said, he is as big as your thumb and situated in the base of your heart. And he will relieve you from all kinds of miseries of this material existence if you surrender to him. That is described also in Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. Since all creation is kingdom of God, everything material is actually spiritual. But Paramam Padam specifically refers to the eternal abode, which is called spiritual sky or Vaikuntha. So, see, there is nothing in this material in this world other than what Krishna. Even the material world is created by Krishna. Right? Nothing has come out on his own accord without Krishna's creation. So, in one sense, everything is even the material thing, the material world is also part and parcel of Krishna only. Right? Everything is Krishna's property. Everything is Krishna's creation. In that sense, because it is touched, it is creation of the Lord, it is also spiritual. But it is covered in this material world, which consists of the modes, material nature, goodness, passion, ignorance. That's why it becomes all these reactions happen, all these transformations happen, and there are people act in different ways. The nature itself is different. There are cycles of time, and all this is because of this nature of this world, material world. That is how it is. But it is creation of the Lord. And 15th chapter also, Krishna says in 15:15, Sarvasya Chaham, I am seated in everyone's heart. From me only comes the remembrance and forgetfulness. Forgetfulness also comes from Krishna. Remembrance comes from him. But forgetful, like we don't remember anything from the last birth. That is forgetfulness. We won't remember anything in the next birth of what is happening now. But we will carry the essence of what we have understood of Krishna. That essence will retain. But we may not remember the details, like the situations.
Yeah.
This whole lifetime we will not remember. But we'll remember. But Narada Muni remembers everything. If you become as great as Narada Muni, you can remember everything. Because that is pure devotee. Like he is above everything. He's become pure devotee and he has realized the Lord. Krishna came and touched him on his head. Also, if you have read the 5th chapter, did you all read the 5th chapter? Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, 1st canto.
First canto, yeah, Mataji.
Narada
We
Muni
read it.
stories, you would have read.
Mhm.
So he was
Yeah.
touched upon by Lord Vishnu on his head with the conch.
Mhm.
Right? And after that, he is gone. After that, he is not visible. He says, I will not be visible to you. No, not more anymore. I only once, because by then he could realize that Krishna is here, he's gone already. And he says, I will not be visible to you again. But in next life, as Narada Muni, he knows everything. He can interact with the Lord, go to his abode, preach his glories like that. So for us, we will not. So the remembrance also comes from the Lord, whatever we are getting. and forgetfulness also comes from them. So everything is from the Lord. So in that sense, the material world is also, everything is coming from the Lord. But when we should accept that. When we accept, just like how Arjuna is accepted in 10:10, in 13, 14 verses, he says, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adideva Majam Vibhu, Purusham Rasya, Anada Asita Devala Vyasa, Swayam Chaiva Bravishimi. We'll say that. And now I understand. You are Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhava, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhu. So many calling him, so many qualities is enunciating of Krishna's in 10th chapter. Not only I am saying, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, they have also said. So only if I say I'm your cousin, I'm your friend, I may only say that. But then this is also backed by great authorities like these people, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, Narada. So not only me. So that is how he says. So when we come to that stage, we'll remember everything and we'll become like Krishna's agents. Maybe one more verse we should read or call it 10. Any questions or any more reflections? 63, 64, 65, 66. Next week we should finish. This is a famous verse, right? Everyone knows Sarvadharman Parityaja. But before that, leading into is also so nice. Leading into it also is so nice. Okay. One more verse should we read?
So how big it is?
63. Jnanam Akhyātam Nivedam. Maybe we should do next week. Okay. Yeah. We'll stop at 62. We'll continue at 63 onwards. Okay. Thank you.
Mataji, it's gonna like Bhagavad Gita finishes at 66.
Krishna's instructions finished.
Ah.
Arjuna and Sanjaya will talk. Sorry, Arjuna will say something. Then Krishna also will say something. Instruction wise, it's done.
Okay.
Then Sanjaya will say something and finally.
So we won't finish our class next week, right? That's my question.
We won't finish. We'll take another 2. We're going so slow. Right?
Okay.
We are only 62, 78 verses. So another 2. I think in next 2 classes we'll wind up. 16 verses, na? Next 16, 70, 63 to 78. So 16 verses. We'll finish it up in next 2 classes. Try to do that. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll meet next week.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Jai Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.